Hello, fellow traders. Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Tuesday, June the 11th. The year's 2024. Let's talk trading. Process versus outcome, part 3 with Walmart. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and different from Walmart. And just a reminder on your risk management, do not lose more than you're willing to lose on any one single trade. That way you probably get to stay in the game a little bit longer. So Walmart, I've been talking to the traders uh, about process versus outcome. So I want to get your take on it.
Uh, if you in the short definition world, process is how you get there, and outcome is the result, of that. But I would go in further that by going and saying there's actually what we could define as process goals and outcome goals. And I think that they're different. Process goals of short-term type things, the things that you want to get accomplished, in the next hour, the next day, the next week, the next month, and then your outcome goals would be what are you trying to get accomplished over the year, 5 year, 10 year, retirement wise, whatever that may be. And so I think that they're separate, but at the same time, I think that they're interlocked with each other. And what I mean by that is that if you're going to go, and I think it's very important for everybody to sit down and be honest with them and say, okay, you know, I want to go and set a goal where I want to be at the end of the year, at the end of 5 years, at the end of 10 years. And usually I like to go and do it the other way around. And that is, where do I want to be at the end of 10 years? Then what do I want to do to be at where I want to be at the end of 5 years and then 1 year? And the reason why I do it backwards is because that way I can go and say, okay, I want to be a gazillionaire at the end of 10 years. Then you say, okay, that's fine. That's a lofty goal, but okay, that's what you want to do. Where do I need to be in order to make that goal? Where do I need to be at the end of 5 years? And maybe things start to come into light. Well, maybe that gazillionaire thing is probably maybe not something that's realistic. Let's go back to the 10 year and let's go and tune that in a little bit. Maybe I just want to be a millionaire. Now where do I need to be at the end of 5 years? And now where do I need to be at the end of 1 year? And so I can set those goals up, realistically. Once you've got those things, now you got those are things that you have out there that sites. Some people, say, hey, I want to be able to do so well in the markets that, I can go and have a Lambo in the garage. To me, that's a waste of money, but hey, that's another person's goal. And so I'm not going to belittle somebody else's goal. That's just not my goal. My goals is taking care of my family, making sure all those things are, left in place. I leave this place when I leave this earth, that it's I've done my best to go and make this a better place for my family and those who are around me. That's my number one goal. And so that's fine. That's me. Somebody else's number one goal maybe I need to be independently wealthy enough that I can go and everything is paid off. I got houses. I got beach houses. I've got I got Lambos in the garage. I've got fun things to play with. I've got all those different types of things, and that's fine. Those are your goals. Those are your goals. I'm not belittling that, but you need to go and write them down and figure those things out. And I would even go and say that I already said maybe the gazillionaire thing may not be the best place to be at first, but at the same time, don't belittle your goals either. Don't you're just setting goals here, and so be realistic, but at the same time, it's sort of like the old expression, right? Shoot for the stars and maybe and take the moon. Well, maybe that's part of it. You shoot for the stars and take the moon. But you need to go and set those goals out there. Now, process goals. Process goals is sort of like the idea of what's your strategy. How are you going to get there? What things are you going to implement to go and get you there? To those goals. And I would go and look at the 1 year goal. How am I going to get to my 1 year goal? But I'm going to do that through my process goals. What strategy am I going to use? What does that mean? That means if you're talking about trading, what is your methodology? What is your what's your trading methodology? What type of method are you using? What is your risk methodology? What is your your daily goals? You're setting all those type of things up. So you got to set up all those different processes to get you there. And the thing about it is, what you need to do is then sit down and say, okay, if I follow all these things and I lay these all out, does it make sense that I can get to my outcome goals? Is that a possibility? If not, then we have to go and reevaluate again. Are my outcome goals, are they added, beyond reality, or maybe this is just not the way to get to those outcomes? Because the real situation here is that every person, if they're going to go and set out, goals that they want to get to, these outcome goals they want to get to, doesn't mean that you have to do it through trading. It may be through something else. It may turn out that you're just like an incredible writer, and and you have a passion for something, and you can go write a book and make millions of dollars writing a book. Well, here you go, write a book. And I would go and I had when I was in ministry, a very smart man came to me and he said to me, "Are you sure this is what you're supposed to be doing?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm really sure this is what I'm supposed to be doing." And then the person said something to me that was very earth-shattering. And he said to me, "Is there anything else you could be doing? Because if there's anything else you could be doing, do it instead." And I think we can say the same thing about trading. Is there anything else you could be doing? Do that instead. And the idea behind that is you got to make sure that this life of trading is what you really want to do, and it becomes who you are. It's got to be, it's got to be total devotion, because this is not easy, and this is not hard talk, okay? It's not a soft talk here. This is not an easy life, It's an easy life in the sense that you don't have to work as many hours. It's an easy life in the sense that you can make lots of money doing this. But it's not an easy life in the sense that it does take a while to go and learn how to do it. It's not an easy life because there's a lot of pressure when you're in the middle of it. There's a lot of, and so you got to go and make sure that your life is aligned with what you're trying to do. So that would be my quick and dirty thing about it, without really having much time to think about it.
Well, the thing is, you said something about you become this, and to me, I've always separated, I am not what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's important to think that way, because it's like somebody goes, "Oh, you're a musician." I go, "No, I'm not a musician." They go, "Oh, you're a bass player." It's like, "No, I play bass." I play guitar. And I say, if I were to call myself a musician, I would be insulting all those who actually dedicate their life to their instrument.
Right.
So in fact, I even wrote a song, call it the Popeye Blues. It's the line is, "I am who I am. I'm not what I do," because I've done lots of different things.
Right.
So,
and that's a characteristic, that people have. What I have found in my life anyway, anything that I've been successful at, I've had to go and turn myself into that person. I've had to go and literally become that. In other words, before I was able to be successful in trading, I had to go and become a trader. I couldn't do it by just trading. And so, and so that's a difference in people, and that's okay. But for me anyway, when I was doing mission work and I was literally in the outback doing mission work, um, in the middle of Africa with no electricity, no water, no nothing, I had to be a missionary. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was called survival. And to get the goals accomplished that I wanted to accomplish, there was no choice but to dedicate myself 100% into doing that. And so, every aspect of my life was pointed at that goal at that point in time. And that's what made that part of my life very successful. When I was in business, it was the same thing. I worked for an advertising agency. I worked for a big, very large media company. At another point, and again, both very, very different jobs. But again, I had to become that media person or that advertising person to be successful in that job. Now, I could be successful and be, 1 point above average. That wasn't a problem. But if I wanted to be the successful person there, where, in other words, the most successful person there, there was no choice but to go full force into that redirection. And that's probably part of what I've now become, because my life now has changed, and my number one goal now is taking care of my family and having time with my family. And so what does that mean? I go and do everything I have to do in order to go and have the maximum amount of time I can have with my family, the maximum quality time I can have with my family, and all the things that go into that. And part of that is trading. So now I am not a trader anymore. I wouldn't consider myself to be a trader anymore, because I trade in order to support the idea that I'm going to go and take care of my family. And so that trading is secondary, and going and doing what I'm doing, for my family is primary.
We're going to have to do a video series, how to become a trader.
That would probably be a good idea.
Yeah, so you've got a homework assignment.
Thanks. I don't have enough things to do.
Yeah.
But and the thing is, guys, it's just, when I was in missions working and I was overseas, it was funny because new missionaries would come over and they would go and say, well, what do I have to do? And they said, and what I would say is, you just have to live life. To be a good missionary, you have to go and live life. You have to go and live life to the best that you can here, accomplishing your goals. Well, I'm going to transport that into being a trader. Well, what do you have to do to be a really good trader? You got to go and live life to become a good trader. So what does that mean? It means getting enough exercise, getting enough quality food, going and getting enough sleep, going and getting all those things that makes you, alive and alert, and able to focus. And you got to go and do your homework. You got to go and actually study. You got to do it in seat time. You got to go and actually lay it all out. It's not one of these things. People, the funny thing about trading is that, I've only taken 3 trades today, and I made my core on 3 trades today. Okay, and maximum amount of work I did was 6 minutes worth of work. And so people said, "Oh, you made all that money in 6 minutes." Yeah, but what you're not looking at is all the other time that I put into putting that together, and that's not what you're looking at. You're not looking at the fact that yesterday I didn't take any time, and I actually worked on my computer, getting my computer set up properly, and getting my machine set up properly, getting all the charts set up properly, and I put probably 8-9 hours in. Well, the reality is that now, okay, 8 hours or 9 hours plus, 6 minutes of work. It's now 6 minutes of work to get that money. It was 8 hours plus 6 minutes. Right. And plus all the other time prior to that. I know we're out of time here.
Yeah. So fellow traders, Always remember and never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumple One